All right, so we're reading another story from the TricksterTale 40 Folk Stories from around the world. And today we'll be reading the story Coyote Goes Hunting. It's a tale of the White Mountain Apache people of Arizona. Like Raven of the Pacific Northwest, Coyote is a trickster of great power and cunning. He has been around since the time of the beginning, and his tales are still being told today. Some of those tales say that it was he, not Raven, who set the sun in the sky. Others say it was Coyote who stole fire from humans to use. Still, other tales concentrate on the more down-to-earth subject of Coyote's never-ending search for food, sometimes in the shape of a coyote, sometimes walking like a man. Coyote is forever working his tricks, but those tricks don't always work out the way he expects, because that is an aspect of the trickster too. He sometimes seems as much of a victim as a victor. And here's the beginning of the story. One day, Coyote was going along and he was beginning to get pretty hungry. He remembered where there were the camps of some of the small animals, of rabbits and squirrels and their kin. "I wish I was traveling with wet sand under my feet," Coyote said, and suddenly there was wet sand. "I wish I was traveling in water up to my knees," Coyote said, and suddenly there was water. "I wish I was traveling in water up to my belly," he said, and suddenly the water was that high. "I wish I was traveling with water up to my neck," Coyote said, and suddenly the water had risen again. "I wish I was traveling with water up to my ears," Coyote said, and suddenly the water was in a full flood. "Now I wish this water would carry me to the camps of the small animals." And so he was carried quickly and smoothly to those camps. When Coyote got there, he lay still, as though he had drowned in the flood, and been washed ashore. The rabbit folk and the squirrel folk, and all the other small creatures came to see his body. Each one of them began to dance a joyous dance. None of them liked the coyote, because he was a trickster who tricked the small animals and ate them. All the while, Coyote was lying still, waiting to see which of the animals he could snatch up and eat. Just then, Skunk came along and danced on Coyote's side. "Come, cousin, wake up and bite these birds so we may eat." He danced on Coyote again and sang, "I will squirt my water at these birds so we may eat." That was too much for Coyote. Eat birds all tainted with skunk's reek? With a yelp, Coyote leaped up at the birds, but he moved too soon. He didn't catch so much as a feather. Instead, he chased after a small rabbit called Cottontail. The rabbit dove into a hole in the ground. "Come out," Coyote said sweetly. "No," Cottontail said. "Come out, or I will burn you out with wheat." "That is my food. It will not hurt me." "Then I'll burn you out with grass." "That is also my food." "It will not hurt me." "Then I will burn you out with pitch," Coyote yelled. "That is not my food," Cottontail admitted. So off Coyote went to find some pitch, calling back over his shoulder, "Now, stay there! Stay right there!" Cottontail had no intention of staying there. He slipped out of the hole and dropped his moccasin back down into it. "Be my voice," he told them, and left. Coyote returned with the pitch. "Are you still there?" he said. "I am," the moccasins replied. So Coyote heated the pitch over a fire and poured it down the hole. When he heard nothing from Cottontail, he figured that he had caught his rabbit, but all he pulled out were 2 pitch-smeared moccasins. Coyote threw them away and went on. He was still hungry, still very hungry. There was a rabbit just sitting and waiting, as though it didn't know he was there. Coyote pounced and bit. Ah! It wasn't a real rabbit at all! It was a trick someone had left behind, a fake stuffed with sand, and he had gotten a mouth full of sand that hurt his teeth. There was a second rabbit just sitting and waiting. "Oh no," Coyote said, "I'm not getting tricked again." And the second rabbit hopped away. That one was alive. He sighed and went on. Next, Coyote saw a bird. He was about to pounce, but it said, "I'm cold. I'm so cold. I wouldn't taste any good to you. If you hold me under your arm, I will warm up and taste delicious." This sounded all right to Coyote. He held the bird under his arm and began to warm it. But when he checked under his arm to see if the bird was ready to eat, the nicely warmed-up bird flew away. Coyote snarled and went on. Locust was sitting on the limb of a tree. Coyote pounced and caught him. "Don't eat me," he said. "I am still too cold and tough. Let me dance about for some time to get nice and soft. You'll stay here with your mouth open, and when I'm warm up, I'll just pop right in." Coyote let Locust dance, and he danced and danced and danced and danced. And when he was nice and warm and tender, he cried, "Here I go, I'll pop right in." Coyote snapped his jaws together, but Locust had popped right into the crack in the tree instead. Coyote snapped again, but caught nothing. "I didn't want that bug anyhow," he said, and went on his way. Sometimes even a trickster goes hungry. The end.